Subscribe to the channel, Friends of Freedom, the question marks up there, because Leo has no idea what I'm about to ask him and what I'm about to talk about, because I think it might be more fun that way. Leo, I gotta jumpstart my sex drive again. Is this shocking to you? I need to jumpstart my sex drive. I've had a couple days where my sex drive's been really low. I feel bored with the women that I'm with, and I want like a new woman or something more exciting. But at the same time, I don't want to lose the women that I have, and it takes a certain amount of sexual attention that I have to give them in order to maintain them. So I need to chemically boost my sex drive very quickly. And I'll tell you what I did this morning so far. I just took 15 units of PT-141, which in my experience takes about 3 hours to kick in, and then I start getting spontaneous erections, and my libido becomes much stronger. I feel motivated to have sex. I want to have sex, right? Now, I don't think that anything else I'm taking is reducing my sex drive. The only thing I can think of decreasing my sex drive is just the lack of novelty, the psychological side of it. And that's why I figured I just need to spark it. I just need to jumpstart it. It may not be something underlying with my chemistry or my protocol that's a problem. However, I am on fluvoxamine and I'm taking it at night. That's an SSRI, right? And they say that SSRIs can decrease sex drive and performance potentially, but I'm taking a low dosage of 50 milligrams. But I did take tesofensine for the last couple days because I was on it, and then I took a break, and then I was on it again. So now I'm on low dosage tesofensine, which is nootropic and also an appetite suppressant, and it holds more neurotransmitters in the brain, including serotonin. So now I've got serotonin from the SSRI plus serotonin from the tesofensine. So maybe too much serotonin is possible. My steroid cycle is testosterone and tren, very low dosages, kind of like a cruising dose of both right now.
Let's begin first with this. Okay, guys, really, I didn't know what this discussion was about at all. Although I did notice some things in the last couple of days which could point this out, because I live with Tony in the same house. So I'm constantly observing the wildlife of Tony, which is very entertaining, and I highly recommend other people, if you can live with Tony, do live with Tony. First of all, he said he needs more sex drive. That actually doesn't make logical sense for a man to say. Let me explain why. This is my opinion, obviously. You feel free to disagree with me, but if you don't want sex, why do you need to want sex? Oh, it makes sense if you're trying to have children, which he is sometimes, so that's a different story.
I walked into the kitchen just an hour ago, right before I took the PT-141, which is when I decided to take it, and I hugged Cat Lady, and she goes, "Oh, why aren't you having sex with one of your whores?" You know? Oh, and not in a mean way, but yeah, like, why are you touching me? Why aren't you with one of your whores? I thought you're bored of me. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. I haven't had sex with her in 2 days, and now she's upset.
That's
so
why.
Now I have to give her sex this afternoon. Wow, power went out. And
that's unusual. That's never happened.
Yeah, now I have to give her sex or she's going to be upset. It's kind of like a duty. And you could say, well, you shouldn't have to. But on the other hand, it's like, I am a man and I have a duty to her, and she's a woman, she has a duty to me, and I want to make sure her needs are fulfilled. Personally, I don't feel any need to have sex with her. I do actually want to go with a new girl, but...
Oh, so your sex drive... Okay, so let's clarify. Your sex drive is high enough to be interested in a new girl, but not high enough that you want to have sex with someone that you genuinely don't want to have sex with.
I don't feel a drive right now, but I know if I get intimate with another girl, I'll get really excited.
Okay, so maybe this is supposed to be the natural state of man. Maybe the natural state of man should not be, I have a need to deal with, and I'm going to go deal with it with somebody. Now, keep in mind, this is different if you're... Okay, so this is very complicated. Like, there's several things you mentioned. I lost track of the notes. So one of the things is that you're in a committed relationship, and one way to show love is to make love. This is a problem. You're right. If you do not make love to a woman, at least in my experience, I've done it for a year once in a relationship, because the woman upset me. I didn't really trust her, so I don't have sex with somebody I'm not interested in. I'm not a prostitute. I will not pretend to for any favor. I'm not doing crap. You can leave if you want to leave.
Well, you better be very careful who you choose to marry, because you need to marry someone you're definitely going to be sexually interested in the rest of your life.
Exactly. That's very much.
See, I'm willing to sacrifice, and I will have sex with a woman even if I don't want to, if it's like me fulfilling what I feel is like my duty in the relationship.
So what I was just trying to point out there is, yeah, for many women and men, but especially women, sex is a part of a fundamental communication in a relationship that's necessary. The other element is that if you have a reduction in sexual activity, almost always the woman will blame it on herself, instead of understanding that we are people that are varying hormones, depressive states, anxious states.
They take it very personal.
Very volatile, really. They almost always take it very personal. The other thing here is that you're in a polygamous relationship where the lady he mentioned just now is a wonderful lady, by the way, very beautiful, and I think genuinely cares about Tony. But she's older by 20 years, or a little bit less than 20, 15 years, to some of the younger women who are not that young either, in their early 20s. But she's older. So like, and she's also an older relationship partner. Yeah. Older relationship partner of yours. So she knows these have novelty. So I think that is a difficult thing. For example, the founder of Saudi Arabia, who married at least 100 women and had like at least like 80 kids or so, he did this for empire building purposes. Even in his later years, he was hiring witch doctors all around the world to help him get better erections, more sex drive. And in fact, the former king of Saudi Arabia, King Abdullah, the WikiLeaks showed that he was taking TRT in his 90s. So it is the fact that maybe some of these people know what they're doing, and if you're going to manage multiple women, you have to do that, maybe not because they want sex, but because they want that emotional connection. So I understand that, but I do want to return to the point that you may not be able to maintain a relationship without sex long term, which I found out the hard way, but you certainly do not need to have sex when you don't want to have sex. That's an option. Do I then need a relationship that's romantic? Or if I don't, maybe I don't need one right now. So anyway, I just want to say that because a lot of men feel like it's their duty, and it's not your duty. In fact, if anything, you could set it off on the opposite angle. If you didn't have hormonal changes right now, like Tony's saying, he doesn't know exactly what was happening. But imagine nothing was happening. Well, then why is the blame on you? Why can't the blame be on the other person?
Well, that's how I feel also. It's like I feel like I need novelty, and she's upset. Not angry, but, just like her feelings are hurt that I'm not having sex with her, and she just in her mind thinks, oh, it's just because he wants to sleep with another girl. But it's that I want novelty, I want some excitement, and so she could probably do something to give me some of that excitement that I want. The only thing I come up with is bring another girl home with you.
So if she brought a threesome, you would be excited that night?
Yeah, threesome with her would be.
So he doesn't have like a severe. So the reason why we've got to say this, the listeners are listening for biology related things. So related to biology related things. Let me finish this. Let me finish this.
Okay, but
Tony has, for you that don't know, a very high sex drive, and that sex drive allows him to have sex with women that normal people wouldn't want to have sex with, or he doesn't want to after a period of time. So he's used to that. He's like, I don't have that buffer anymore. I can't just perform to go to bed, even though I don't really want it and I just don't want to masturbate. That's what he needs. So there's other people with real sex drive issues, but nonetheless, we'll go through some of the things here in case it may help you understand what's going on with you. If you're suffering for this, which many men do, not just men on hormones.
For me, when I get out of practice, like I don't have sex for a day, even if I don't have sex for one day, then the next day I'm like nervous, like am I gonna perform well, like I'm out of practice.
See, this is another thing also that I think is something that modern males have I don't know why they've done this, but it's not my job to practice for the person. I'm there to do what I want to do, and with their obvious permission and everything. If I succeed and they don't, if I come and they don't, they're late. This is a joke from a comedy show I stole a long time ago. And to be honest with you, if the person you have a really good connection with, and they feel like you don't naturally want to please people, but you want to please them, this is really valuable. But if they think like, oh, you guys that go on a first night, one night stand, or go on the first night and just go down on the girl, you're really saying you would be in somewhat the service-oriented position, concerned about the other person from the beginning. It's much more valuable to anybody if that position is earned through their behavior. So I want to mention anyway.
Everyone is responsible for their own orgasm.
That's the phrase, exactly. That's so true.